Did AEW make the right call? Is Mercedes Moné a waste of money? I will discuss this and more in my Forbidden Door 2024 review. Hey guys, it's Frank here. Let's discuss Forbidden Door 2024. As always, AEW delivers with pay-per-views, but did they deliver with this one? Short answer is yes. However, I do have some thoughts. First, we start off with MJF versus Hinchinico. We started out with MJF versus Hinchinico. It was a really good match. One of the fun things about these AEW crossover pay-per-views is that we get to see what we normally wouldn't see in America television. And Jericho pushed MJF to his limits, really working on his injured shoulder. MJF gets the win of the Brain Buster. Solid match. MJF is over like crazy. I give MJF versus Hincherico 3 out of 5 stars. The match was really good, but it wasn't the best men's match on the card by any means. Next up was the Elite versus the Acclaimed and Scissor Ace Hiroshi Tanahashi. This is a good match. However, we really need to balance these pay-per-views a little bit more. Tony, we don't need 4 tag team matches every pay-per-view. Not everybody needs to be on the card. You're overdoing tag matches. You got the best tag division in wrestling. However, you're oversaturating it. Cool it off. The Elite is the best thing going AEW right now. Okada is entertaining weekly. He gets the big pin on Tanahashi with the Rainmaker. I hope to see Okada versus Tanahashi for the for the title that Okada has. Who can even remember with all the titles that they have nowadays? At Wrestle Dream in October. So that's another NJPW crossover pay-per-view. It was a good match. Nothing special. I give it 2.5 out of 5 stars. Next was Bryan Danielson versus Shinbegu Takahaki. So many match of the night contenders here. The card was crazy. Bryan Danielson matches, we all know what we're getting into. 2 men beating the hell out of each other, and every time it delivers. Bryan Danielson is one of the best all-around wrestlers in the world, if not the greatest of all time. He does an amazing job selling his neck and shoulder from Will's Tiger Driver at Dynasty. Bryan shows respect to Takaki at the end of the match. Nearly perfect match. However, as I said, we know what we're getting from a Bryan match at this point. Still, it was the second best male match on the card. Let's give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Next up was Toni Storm versus Mimi Shirakawa. I love all the women's single matches on this card. Toni Storm has the best character in wrestling, and Mina Shirahaki has the it factor. I hope to see more of her in AEW. Only barely beats Mina, hitting the Storm Zero. It could be the best AEW women's match in history if it wasn't for the match later in the card. Rame, Tony, and Mina all kiss. Nigel McGuinness is hilariously crying on commentary like he's sapping it up. Like crying snot coming out of his nose. It was hilarious. 4 out of 5 stars. Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. I just want to talk about for a minute how much of an underrated wrestler Orange Cassidy is. This man keeps putting on amazing matches. Chris Jericho, that silly, what was a Chardonnay match, something like that, where he punched Jericho into the orange drink. Had another good classic match with Tag. Almost every single one of his international title defenses were really good. His matches with John Moxley, and now this match with Zack Sabre Jr. Very good back and forth match. Orange Cassidy has his wrist injured very early in the match, thanks to Zack Sabre Jr.'s technical skills and being able to target limbs, which Orange Cassidy goes for the orange punch. And that was the end of it, because his wrist was injured. He hit it with his injured wrist. There really wasn't much he can do by then. Orange Cassidy would end up being forced to tap out to a brutal submission. Zack Sabre Jr. is the future of NJPW. He should be the one that wins the G1 Climax this year, and he's my pick to win a G1 Climax this year. They're 4.5 out of 5 stars. Samoa Joe, Shibata, Hook versus Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Jeff Cobb. I love Hook. I love Joe. I love Shibata. Jericho can fuck off to the sun for all I care. One, he changed his theme music, which was the best thing about Chris Jericho in 2024. And two, he is... I know he's playing up to what the IWC thinks that he is, but it's obnoxious and it's annoying, and I just want him to fuck off my TV. 2 out of 5 stars. The ladder match. I'm a sucker for a good ladder match, y'all. The MVP of this ladder match by far is Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe is fucking nuts. He did multiple big spots in this ladder match. The first one being him putting a ladder on top of Takeshita, with Takeshita laying on a table, and it wasn't like it was laid out on the floor. He had a ladder leaning up against the the table leaning up against the barricade, Takeshita leaning up against that, ladder leaning up against that, and did a Sabu senton onto the ladder, which took him out for a while. He did the big ladder swing with the helicopter swing. I know that's not a big spot, but it always gets a pop, so it's a big spot. Pretty sure he did a move off a ladder at some point. He rode off the ladders. Mark Briscoe is a madman. I wish I would have been more into him when his brother was still alive. However, we knew who was going to win this match. It was Jack Perry. Jack Perry was always going to be the one to win. Jack Perry wins the match. 3.5 out of 5 stars. There was nothing spectacular about this ladder match. It was still a car crash ladder match. Car crash ladder match is still really good, but it's not different. Okay. Alright. So here's going to be my controversial take, more than likely. This is the best women's match that Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, whatever you want to call her. I say respect what she wants to be called and call her Mercedes, but whatever. I know people aren't going to listen. This is the best match she's ever put on. Better than Bayley versus her any of the times. Better than any of her matches with Charlotte. Stephanie Valkyrie is one of the best women wrestlers in the world, and I can't believe I was never able to. This is my first match watching her. Somebody I'm definitely going to look up more. The match is back and forth. Moné eventually picks up the win with the Moneymaker. Tremendous match. 4.5 out of 5 stars. Let's talk about the end. The best part of the pay-per-view. This is like my favorite moment of the pay-per-view. Britt Baker is back. She's been gone for 10 months. She explained why she was gone tonight on Dynamite. And it sounds like that she had a mini stroke, which is very scary, on top of her other injuries that she needs to do. But she's back. Looks like we're leaning towards Mercedes and Britt at All In, which Britt did challenge Mercedes tonight at All In Dynamite. However, the interesting thing here is commentary points it out, however, but Mercedes started getting booed very early into the match. They mention it and they make it seem like it's because she's from Boston, it's New York, which of course there's a Boston-New York rivalry. There always will be because of sports. However, everybody knows Mercedes is a better heel. This was AEW's audience telling Tony to stop with this Mercedes good girl stuff and let her be her. And it looks like we're finally getting that, because she was her cocky arrogance on that night. Including, it looks like in my opinion, I think she's joining the Elite. But Britt Baker's back. I love Britt Baker. She's been sorely missed. The best thing about the night, I'm sorry. This women division has needed her back so badly. Jamie Hayter needs to come back soon too, hopefully. This rivalry needs to be Britt Baker carrying the mic. I had originally, when I first wrote the script for this, thought that maybe she would be the leader of a faction with Chris Statlander. I don't know who else will be put in it. Perhaps Stokely as her mouthpiece. But I think they're teasing her joining the Elite, and I think that's the right call. I'm not going to talk much about the Jon Moxley match. It's not that I don't appreciate his type of wrestling. However, Jon Moxley matches are all Jon Moxley matches. I think this is the first match he hasn't led in a very long time. It's just him beating the crap out of somebody else. Naito is the perfect person for him to have this match with. It was the right call to have Moxley have him take the title off of Moxley. However, he needs to take some time off of AEW television. He's becoming AEW's Roman Reigns at this point. He's always on top. He's always on television. He needs a break. He can go NJPW. He can go Bloodsport. He can, wherever else he wants to go do his thing at. He needs to break off of AEW television, or he's not going to be special for AEW anymore. Okay, so the final match of the card. The best match of the year. Hands down. Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland. I don't even know how to describe how good this match was. I was invested from the get-go. They started off hot. It reminds me of Will's matches with Ricochet back in the late 2010s. But much more hard-hitting, because these two, they just beat the crap out of each other. At one point, Swerve does the Swerve Stomp onto the announce table. I can't remember what I think it was a pile driver onto the barricade, and it's not like they're thick barricades, they're thin little barricades. And the type of balance and trust that you have to have in your fellow wrestler to pull that move off was amazing. However, the end of the match, the downfall of this match was Don Callis. Don Callis is a thorn, a leech to Will Ospreay. I am so glad. Tonight, on Dynamite, he ditched Don Callis. I have a feeling there's going to be a rivalry with him and Don Callis. I honestly expected him to, after seeing that, expected him to cost him the title versus Daniel Garcia. However, that didn't happen. He won with a hidden blade after MJF ended up distracting Daniel Garcia, trying to help him by giving him Dynamite Dynamite Ring. This is every AEW pay-per-view has a match like this, and I feel like people are gonna say AEW fans sound like a broken record, but every time they have a match, and it's always better. And lately, every time, it's been Will Ospreay. If Will Ospreay is not champion by the end of the year, that would be a damn shame. Overall, I really liked Wrestle Dream. I can't really think of an AEW pay-per-view that was super disappointing. They're always entertaining. Couple criticisms. Don't need 14 matches on a card. It is unnecessary.
Let's cheat then. Y'all want to cheat?
7 matches.
We could cheat all day.
Give them time. You do so many special dynamites, like you just did Beach Break tonight. We got Grand Slam coming up in September. We can put some of these matches on these shows Your pay-per-views are oversaturated. I know you want to give people what their money's worth, but if you give them 7 quality matches, which in this case that's like 11, but the end of the pay-per-view you're tired, and thankfully Will versus Swerve was, people were still into it. It was really good, and people were still loud, but it takes a special match to do that on a long 3-hour card. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Please remember to like the video and subscribe, and I hope you all have an amazing 4th of July.